All right, let me start with something that might surprise you. According to a 2025 survey by Clever Real Estate, 82% of recent homebuyers regretted their purchase. Yeah, you heard that right. 82%. Imagine you're a first time homebuyer in 2025, navigating a turbulent market with skyrocketing interest rates and economic uncertainty. The wrong choices could leave you financially strapped and stressed. If you're thinking about buying a home in 2025, you might want to pause on that dream. I'm Heidi, and today I'm going to reveal why this could be the riskiest year to buy a home in recent history, and why you may want to wait to buy your first home in 2025. Let me break down exactly why I'm concerned about 2025, and then we'll talk about who should still consider buying and what alternatives you might want to consider. Now, let's talk about what's keeping me up at night. Interest rates. While everyone was hoping for rates to drop, we're seeing the opposite. Remember when everyone thought rates would drop in 2025, the year of the fives? Well, that didn't happen. And I've already heard it many times this year. Oh, rates are going to come down in 2025. It's going to be great. But here's the reality check. We're dealing with persistent inflation, and the Fed has made it crystal clear they're not messing around. Just last month, we saw rates climb back up to nearly 7%. And guess what? Many economists are predicting we might see even higher rates in 2025. Think about this for a second. If you're buying a $400,000 home, every 1% increase in your rate adds roughly $250 to your monthly payment. That's $3,000 a year just gone, poof. And that's money you could be investing, saving, or using for other important things in your life like traveling. But here's where it gets even scarier. And this is something nobody's really talking about, the inventory crisis we're facing. It's actually getting worse. You see, we have this perfect storm brewing for 2025. First, you've got millions of homeowners locked into those sweet, sweet 3% interest rates from a few years ago. They're not selling unless they absolutely have to. Second, new construction still isn't keeping up with demand. We're talking about a deficit of millions of homes nationwide. And third, this is the kicker, institutional investors are still buying up properties left and right, especially in desirable markets. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, political uncertainty. With the new president taking office, we're seeing major policy shifts that could rock the housing market. The Fed's stance on interest rates, potential new housing regulations, tax policy changes, it's all up in the air, and uncertainty is never good for housing markets. Look, I'm not trying to play economist here, but you've had to be living under a rock not to see what's happening. We're watching tech companies continue to lay off thousands of workers. Companies are completely changing their remote work policies, sending ripple effects through the housing markets. And don't even get me started on the global economic uncertainty. The thing is, all of this directly affects housing demand. Think about it. When people aren't sure about their jobs or where they need to live for work, they're a lot less likely to commit to a 30-year mortgage. But here's what really gets me, the hidden costs that nobody talks about when buying a home in 2025. First-time buyers, you need to hear this. Insurance rates, they're absolutely exploding right now. We're talking 30 to 40% higher in many areas. Property taxes, they're climbing faster than I've seen in my entire career. And maintenance costs, whew, with these labor shortages, getting someone to fix anything is going to cost an arm and a leg. I had a client last week pay triple what they would have paid 2 years ago just for basic repairs. And HOA fees, honestly, I could do a whole separate video just on what's happening with HOA costs right now. And these aren't just little inconveniences. These are serious monthly costs that can make or break your budget. Now, I'm not all doom and gloom, I promise. There are some people who should still consider buying in 2025. You might be a good candidate if you're planning to stay put for at least 5 to 7 years. You have a rock solid emergency fund beyond your down payment. Your job is stable and your income is growing. You find a property that truly meets your long-term needs, and you can comfortably afford the payments even if inflation goes up. But listen, if you're buying just because you think you're throwing away money on rent, or because everyone else is doing it, or because you're afraid of missing out, stop. These are exactly the kind of emotions that lead to regret. Here's the reality check. I'm not telling you this to scare you. I'm telling you this because I've been in real estate for 7 years and I've never seen a market quite like this. The combination of rising home prices, rising interest rate, and political uncertainty makes 2025 particularly risky for homebuyers. If you're watching this and feeling discouraged, don't worry, I've got some practical alternatives for you in 2025. Let's break them down. First, let's talk about optimizing your current situation. Right now is the perfect time to strengthen your rental position. You can do this by negotiating a longer lease term. Many landlords will give you a better rate for a 2-year commitment. If you're in an expensive area, consider relocating to maybe a more affordable neighborhood or find a roommate to split costs. Remember, this is temporary. You're playing the long game here. Now, let's talk about building your war chest. Yes, you can put a minimum of 3.5% down, but aim for as much as you can. Why? Because it gives you options. Start putting money into a high yield savings account where rates are actually pretty good right now. If you have any high interest debt, credit cards, personal loans, tackle those first. And please work on your credit score. Every point matters when you're looking at a 7% interest rate environment. Now, here's what most people skip: getting truly market ready. Start building relationships with real estate agents now, not just one. Talk to several. Research neighborhoods like it's your job. I'm talking school districts, crime rates, future development plans, everything. Get pre-approved and really understand your buying power. Not just the maximum amount, but what payment you're actually comfortable with. Here's something most agents won't tell you about: new construction opportunities in 2025. Builders are getting creative. They're offering rate buy downs, covering closing costs, even paying buyer agent compensation in some cases. Plus, you're often getting brand new appliances, blinds, everything included. No bidding wars, no waived inspections, low interest rates. But here's the most important thing: don't rush this. The market will still be here in 6 months and in a year. What matters is making the right move for you. Look, I know this might not be what you wanted to hear, but I'd rather be honest with you now than have you come back in a year wishing someone had warned you. I'd love to get your insights. Where do you think the housing market will go in 2025? If you're still considering buying in 2025 and want to learn exactly how to navigate this market successfully, particularly in Phoenix, make sure to watch my next video right here where I break down winning strategies for 2025 buyers. Until next time.